Good morning, Schmucker Middle School. Today is Tuesday, February 19th, and it is a blue day. Welcome to WSMS. Please give your attention to Lillian for the pledge.
Good morning. Please join me in a moment of silence. Please stand and face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remember to show respect, make a difference, and set the bar high. Have a great day. Now back to the announcer.
Attention current NJHS members. Please check your emails for details about this week's important timeline.
Attention all 6th graders. There will be a 6th grade social on Friday, February 21st, right after school. Please come for fun tailgate games, great DJ music, and a fun time with friends. Purchase your social tickets for $2 during the 6th grade lunchtimes on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You can buy pizza at the social too for $1 per slice. The PTO will be selling snacks at the social too. Your ride will need to pick you up at 5:30 at doors E and F. Hope to see you there.
Since it's Black History Month, we want to share some inspirational quotes to celebrate. I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying. Michael Jordan.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.
Special guest.
No, special guest.
Special guest. Hey, I'm a special guest. Okay, just really quickly, I know that we've been on last Friday and then yesterday kind of talking about our expectations for your behavior, and I got to say, I worked the girls' basketball game last night, and I was just blown away. I was so proud of our players, of our athletes, and then obviously our student section as well. And our wrestling team won. Girls' basketball won, 8th grade, overtime. It was awesome. Our fans, great, cheering. It was a really, really great display. I was really proud to be a Spartan. So thank you, everybody who came out and supported our athletes. And that's about it. So just some positive for your Wednesday. Now, back to the desk.
Now, thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for the 5-star video.
Welcome back to 5-Star Life. Coach Seth here to challenge you to live your 5-star life. And each week we've been talking about how you can live fearless, because fear is the #1 enemy of your success. And last week we unpacked our greatest fear, that we aren't enough, that we're not smart enough, we're not talented enough, we're not powerful enough, we're not pretty enough. It's the case of the enoughs. And the only way that you can overcome that fear is to get a 20/20 vision, to get a clear vision of who it is that you want to be. Now, if you did that, we want to hear from you. Go to our website and share your story. According to a study I read, you actually may want to develop a vision and begin to picture yourself as one of the quiet and not so cool kids. In other words, popularity may not be all that the hype says it is. So Coach Seth, you saying I shouldn't be popular? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that researchers track students from age 13 to 23 for 10 years, and they tracked the highly popular kids. What they found out 10 years later is that 45% higher chances of having drug and alcohol addiction and having issues like missing work and drunk driving tickets and all kinds of mental health issues as well surrounded kids that were highly popular. So, Coach Seth, you saying I shouldn't be popular? No, be popular. What I'm saying is the study showed that about 45% of the popular kids were trying way too hard to be popular. And this ties right into one of our greatest fears that we have, the fear of missing out. You've maybe heard it termed as FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. What happens is we're so afraid of missing out on the party or the text message or whatever else is going on that's cool and fun that we constantly have to gravitate towards fun, towards where the action is. And we develop a habit of not doing the most important things to do the fun in the moment things. That leads to bad things later on. So how do you overcome that? We overcome it by JOMO. What is JOMO? This is a real term. It's called the joy of missing out. So people who have JOMO actually have JOMO because they have a vision for their life. We talked about this last week, having 20/20 vision. They know who they want to be. They know where they want to go. They've got their vision board set. They're looking at every day. And what that does is when they're missing out on friends hanging out or going to the movies because they're studying for a test or they're working out, they actually, they'd like to be doing those fun things at the moment, but deep down inside they have joy because they know they're moving towards their vision and that they have this strength. And so it gives them joy and actually peace that they're on the right path. I read a story about a professor who was trying to teach his class of college students about time management. In order to do so, he presented this visual illustration. He had a glass container that represented the time they had in each day. He proceeded to take a jar of rocks and pour it into the container until it reached the top. And then he asked the question, is this container full? To which they answered, yes, it's full. To which he then grabbed a bowl of pebbles and dumped it into the container, and it filled in all the spaces between the large rocks. He then asked the same question, is the container full? They said, yes. To which he then grabbed a bowl of sand and proceeded to dump it into the container, and it filled in all the cracks between the little pebbles. To which he then asked the question, is the container full? They finally said, yes, it's full. To which he grabbed a glass of water, dumped it in, and it seeped between all the space between the sand and the pebbles. And then it was finally full. So the point the professor is trying to make is that every single day we have to make choices about how we're going to spend our time and how we're not going to spend our time. So if we have about 6 to 8 hours after school every day, we don't have time to study for the test, to go to the movies with our friends, to work out, to binge Netflix, to play Fortnite, to follow on social media everything our friends are doing, and to spend the night with our family. There's not time for all those things. But people who have FOMO, the fear of missing out, even when they're hanging with friends, they're afraid they're missing out on studying for the test, and so they don't have peace or joy. Now, people who have 20/20 vision have priorities, and these priorities represent the rocks in the professor's illustration. The rocks represent the most important things to us in our vision, right? So things like our family, like health, our education are the most important things. And when I was in middle school and high school, my vision was like, I want to play college basketball. Like that was what I wanted. That's what I was going for. And so ultimately, my rocks were, school, family, health, working out. Health meant getting enough sleep, meant eating the right foods. Those are my rocks. They're the most important things in my life. Now, the pebbles in the illustration represent things that are important, but not as important as rocks. Things like clothes and technology and hobbies and hanging out with friends. All important things, but just not that important. The sand and the water, they represent things that, they should be the least of our priorities, right? So things like binging Netflix and, being on YouTube for endless hours and following our friends on social media. All these things can take up our time, and ultimately, you have to make a decision to prioritize what's most important to get to your vision. Super successful people develop a vision for their life that sets the priorities and becomes the filter for how they use their time. But most people don't live this way. They have a fear of missing out on binging the Netflix and playing the Fortnite and missing out whatever their friends are doing, and so they spend all their time doing that. And quite frankly, so many people are addicted to technology today. It's crazy. And so at the end of the day, what they're doing is they're doing the professor's illustration in reverse. They're actually spending all their time after school, or in their spare time, they're putting the water and the sand in first. Then they're putting the pebbles in, and then there's not room for the rocks. There's not room. for the most important things. And so at the end of the day, when their teacher asks where their assignment is, or their coach asks them, hey, did you do that special workout that we talked about? Their answer is what? No. Why? Didn't have time. Really? Didn't have time? No, it's the truth. They didn't make time is actually the reality. They spent their time with the sand and the water, and at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, at the end of 5 years or 10 years, they look back and they have massive regret. And it's all because of the way they spent their time. But I have awesome news. See, if you have FOMO, which we all have a little bit of it, you can turn that into JOMO by having the courage, which we define as having the strength, right, to do what's right rather than what's popular or comfortable. It takes strength to actually, just like when a friend calls, like, hey, I want to kick it, let's hang out, let's go do this thing. It takes great strength to say, no, sorry, man, I got to study. Or, man, I got to get this workout in, sorry. But you feel so strong, you feel so peaceful, you feel joy that I'm grinding, I'm working toward my goal, I'm working towards my dream. And listen, I believe this. If you put your rocks in first, you will experience JOMO. You'll have peace and joy that you're doing the right things. And guess what? At the end of the day, you'll be able to put the pebbles in, the sand in, you'll be able to hang with friends and play video games and do all of that and enjoy it more because you've done the most important things first. Listen, turn FOMO into JOMO, the joy of missing out, because you are prioritizing, because you're living based off of the vision you want to live into. Good luck.
Hey, 5-Star Life students, Coach Morgan here. Coach Seth just talked about FOMO, the fear of missing out. And when I was listening, I was thinking about all of the times that I had suffered from FOMO and how it negatively impacted my health in various areas. My mental health, my emotional health, my physical health. I was always so drained and tired and overly emotional because I was pushing myself to do things all the time. I just want to emphasize that it is super important to slow down and embrace JOMO, the joy of missing out. And I would love for you guys to check out my post-edition video where I will talk more about this. Have a great week.